Hello YouTube family, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Sharita and welcome. And in today's video, we are diving into the continuation of our perfume notes series. I put up a poll, over 2,000 votes, and it was split, okay? So the options were chocolate, tea, and tobacco. Really shocked how tobacco only got 20%, but pretty much tea and chocolate were split. Okay, 40%, 40%. So I just figure y'all are gonna get both this week. So today's video is all about chocolate fragrances. For some reason, a lot of people tend to struggle with the note, but I have some really good finds. We have some budget friendly options, we have some mid, and we absolutely have a couple of luxury. So I also want to highlight that for the first time, I think I'm actually featuring a couple fragrances that are about white chocolate as well. So if you're in the market for a fabulous gourmand, this list has definitely got some that you really need to get your nose on. If you're a fan of chocolate, honey, you are going to absolutely love this list. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into today's video. So first up on this list is from the Lattafa's Give Me Gourmand collection, and this is going to be Cookie Crave. This is the one I was most excited about, but to me, this is not quite giving Oreo cookie, which is actually good because Oreo, if you really think about it, I know it's supposed to be a chocolate cookie, but if you really think about it, it really doesn't give chocolate, okay? So when I spray this, I actually get something really comforting, inviting, sweet, chocolate chip cookie-esque, and then it's almost like it starts to get this warm milk that comes through as it starts to really develop on the skin. So this is literally giving me chocolate chip cookies and a glass of warm milk. This is fall gourmand, like in a bottle. So if you are in the market for something that's going to give you this cookie biscuit like facet along with sugary sweet, of course, lots of vanilla, and of course that cacao note, then this is one I highly recommend you check out, especially at this price point. I find that this gives moderate performance for me personally. It's not weak, but it's not a loud beast mode scent either. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking you're going to get something that, you know, projects across the room like a lot of Lattafa's. This really isn't giving that, which is actually quite good for something really sweet and literal gourmand. Like, it doesn't need to be doing too much because you can start to get a little sick and it can be cloying for some. So this one features top notes of cacao and butter. You have middle notes of cookie, sugar, and milk, and you have base notes of vanilla, whipped cream, and sandalwood. I think that all of the notes that they're giving you, you really do get those in this fragrance. It's beautifully blended. I don't get anything that smells odd or synthetic or off, anything like that. So I think this is absolutely one you should check out. So again, this is Cookie Crave, a new release from Lattafa within their Give Me Gourmand line. So this next fragrance actually features a white chocolate truffle, and it also has a traditional cacao note featured in it as well. So this is a new release from Brown Girl Jane. I could not decide if I wanted to get the full size of this one or the Chris Collins Forbidden Apple. I didn't want to get, you know, full bottles of both and blind buy them both. So I went with the travel of this one, but I could say that I probably should have just gone on ahead and got the full bottle of them both because Chalet is actually really beautiful. This is going to put you in the mindset of like your Nebras or your Billie Eilish fragrances because they really do have that prominent sugar, crystalline sugar thing going on with a prominent chocolate or cacao. So if you have either of those, I would say try it first to see if it's going to be just a little too redundant, but there are some differences to me. And I think the main thing that is going to set it apart is you do get something a little white chocolate and creamy in this one. And you also are swapping out that red fruit element that you have in the aforementioned fragrances for a plum note. There is a little sparkling, effervescent quality to it that can wear maybe just a little aldehydic, only slightly, because it does feature a champagne note. So if you're looking for something that really is vanilla chocolate, lots of sugary sweet goodness, then this is one I highly recommend you get your nose on. So Chalet opens with notes of white chocolate, truffle, and plum. You have middle notes of champagne and jasmine, and you have base notes of cacao, vanilla, and sandalwood. So this one is easily available through Sephora online. So I will say start with the travel and see what your thoughts are, but so far I am really enjoying this one like I do all of my Brown Girl Janes. Again, this one is Chalet from Brown Girl Jane. Now, let's get into a fragrance that really does give you literal, delicious, decadent, rich, sweet chocolate brownie. And we're talking about Brownie Pop from Maison Mataha. I think this gives really good performance and longevity, and you're really going to smell like a brownie. I mean, this is a warm, sweet, just absolutely delicious take on a chocolate gourmand fragrance, and I just cannot seem to get enough of the way this smells. So this one to me is absolutely fall and winter. It does wear really thick, sweet, and robust, so it may be too much for some if you are, you know, still having these 85-degree days like we are having in Georgia, but definitely keep it on your radar for when it really starts to cool down. So Brownie Pop opens with notes of brown sugar, popcorn, hazelnut, biscuit, and chocolate, and you have base notes of vanilla and sandalwood. The popcorn part of it really is more so in the beginning, so if you're not a fan of that, I will say you really don't have to worry. I think that if you want to smell like a warm brownie with nuts, that's exactly what it's giving. So be sure to, you know, start with the decant. Scent Split should have these in like the 5 ml, all the sizes, so get your nose on this one because I think this one is one of the best chocolates in my collection. Again, this one is Brownie Pop, and this is from the house of Maison Mataha. So where are my boozy lovers? If you want something really boozy, chocolate forward, perfect for definitely probably winter, because for some reason, you guys, this is giving me eggnog, but make it chocolate. Like, that is how boozy this thing is. And this is actually a new one to my collection. This was so kindly sent over to me from Scent Split. I started with a 5 ml of this one, and as soon as this like met my skin, I said I'm going to need this. So I have tried almost every perfume from the house of Dudar, but this is the only one that, like, love at first sniff, I want a full bottle. So Peccatorum is all about boozy and chocolate, so you really do have to vibe with that. But what I love about it is you do get a lot of gourmand sugary sweetness. It has all of that. So because it is so sweet and decadent and rich and also very boozy, it's perfectly unisex. Anyone can put this on. To me, this is gourmand, but it is giving sexy date night, because I don't think you want to go to work smelling quite this boozy. It's a beautiful blend, and it's just one that any chocolate lover really does need to get their nose on. So Peccatorum opens with notes of bitter orange and coffee. You have middle notes of whiskey, cognac, and rum, and you have base notes of vanilla, caramel, cacao, sugar, whipped cream, and gourmand accord. You're getting just the right amount of coffee to add a deep, dark richness, like this really mysterious undertone that you're not getting from any of these other chocolates that I've mentioned. Also, because it's got so much booze in it, very, very sexy, very fall winter appropriate. And then you have a ton of caramel just rounding all of that out. So if you're looking for a true stunner as far as chocolates, get your nose on this one because I think you will be pleasantly surprised. Again, very unisex. So honey, it doesn't matter, man, woman, non-binary, you're going to love the way this smells, all right? Again, this one is from the house of Dudar, and this is Peccatorum. Next up is an ode to white chocolate. I don't have anything in my collection that is giving white chocolate, and to me, this one is actually giving me a fragrance that smells dang near identical to a white or vanilla Tootsie Roll. You know, when you got the colored Tootsie Roll, like those are my favorite candies to get when I'm trick-or-treating with my daughter. She gives me all of them every year. I love the vanilla Tootsie Rolls, and that's exactly what Blanc cocoa chocolate smells like. So this is from the house of Lumi, and if you have not explored that house, they have some really unique, really well done gourmands. So get your nose on this because you don't have anything in your collection like it. No, it's not going to remind you of a Bianco latte or anything like that. Again, I don't have anything that reminds me of vanilla Tootsie Roll, white chocolate. This is absolutely giving that vibe. It's really lactonic and creamy, sweet, lots of vanilla, and it's a touch powdery. So this one opens with notes of butter, powdery notes, almond milk, anise, and sugar. You have middle notes of white chocolate, coconut milk, tonka bean, and heliotrope, and you have base notes of cacao, vanilla absolute, and patchouli. Now, for this one, I can't really tell you how it's going to wear as far as the longevity, the projection. I only started testing this one out yesterday, but if I'm letting you know what you're going to get as far as the smell, does it smell amazing? Absolutely. So I can't wait to really get through this 5 ml and give it a full wear test, because so far this is giving me I need a full bottle. Again, this one is from the house of Lumi, and this is Blanc cocoa chocolate. Chocolate. Again, you can pick up samples and the full bottle from Scent Split. A huge thank you to them for sending this one over. Now let's get into my very first chocolate fragrance. I still have some left, probably about half of it gone, because this is a fragrance that I wear when I really want a heavy dose of powdery chocolate, something very comforting, and of course, just straight up literal gourmand. And this is from the House of Montal. This is Chocolate Greedy. For some reason, this is polarizing. I just think, you know, Montal, they use a lot of synthetics in their fragrances, and this house as a whole can just be polarizing, very hit or miss. But for me, their ingredients, they just tend to work with my body chemistry, my skin, and I love this fragrance. Some people will literally get something like throw up, like I've heard several people mention that, or vomit. I don't get that. What I get from this is cocoa puffs and milk. Like, it doesn't mention a lot of lactonic notes or anything like that in the fragrance, but that's exactly what you get. And it smells so divine. And oh my God, I just cannot get enough of the way the chocolate and the orange come across in this fragrance, and tons of vanilla. All right. So Chocolate Greedy has notes of cacao, bitter orange, vanilla, tonka bean, dried fruits, and coffee. It is very simple, but it is rich, addictive. And if you don't have anything chocolate in your arsenal, start here, because this really did help to kick off my love for chocolate fragrances. Again, a classic from the House of Montal, Chocolate Greedy. This next one is without a doubt one of my favorite chocolate fragrances of all time. For my collection personally, I think this wears quite unique. There is a slight boozy element, making it very much so appropriate for, you know, your next fall cozy date night or girls night out, or just when you want to feel a little opulent but also gourmand. And this is Chocolate Queen. This is from the House of NAVITUS, and I'm telling you, this is creamy, it's rich, it's decadent chocolate deliciousness, but it's very ambery. And I think that is what sets it apart from all of the other chocolates that we're going to get into today. This thing just makes me feel like $1,000,000. So if you're looking for a chocolate that's not going to really break the bank as far as beast mode, extracts, luxury scents, then please get your nose on Chocolate Queen. Again, Scent Split, they have all of the decants and all of the sizes. So if you're on the fence, start with a sample. But I really do think if you're into chocolate and amber, you're going to want to upgrade this baby to a full bottle. Just smelling this fragrance, like, I don't even know where I am right now, y'all. It is so divine. And a lot of people do not talk about this one. I think this is probably been around for about 3 years. It was their collaboration with Gabby Loves Perfumes, and I just think they really created what I would like to call a masterpiece chocolate fragrance. Now, of course, that word is very debatable, but this is just such a special one for me personally. All right, so Chocolate Queen opens with notes of dark chocolate, dulce de leche, and hazelnut. You have middle notes of Bailey's Irish cream, chocolate fudge, caramel, and bitter almond, and you have base notes of vanilla absolute, praline, amberwood, and sandalwood. What I love about it is you were giving so many gourmand notes, but it doesn't wear childlike, or it's very hard to put into words as to what you're going to get, because for me personally, I'm getting something really like praline Irish cream, but you're also getting something nutty and very rich and chocolatey. Lots of vanilla as well, but I just think the way they've balanced it, the way they have blended their amberwood in there, that really elevates the scent. You must get your nose on this if you are new to chocolate fragrances. All right, so again, this one is Chocolate Queen, done in collaboration with Gabby Loves Perfumes from the House of NAVITUS Parfums. Now, you know I could not do a chocolate video without Feve Gourmand from Guerlain. This is a pricey one, all right, and pretty much this is a repackaged Gourmand Coquine, which was really popular for the house. It was discontinued. That entire line was discontinued, if I'm not mistaken. But I think honestly, by popular, demand and all of that, they decided to bring it back, but in the arts and materials line. So Feve Gourmand is absolutely going to be that elevated chocolate rose, slightly spicy scent. And what I love about it is it's giving that classic, very grown up opulence that everything in the arts materials line is going to give, but it is a gourmand. And within that range, like, we don't have a lot of fragrances that are giving gourmand. We don't have anything else that is giving chocolate. And I think that the beauty of this is that it wears with this almost like soft, airy quality, if I can describe it that way, but it is loved for good reason. I love the way the spices are carried out in here. They're not too punchy. Again, just a very, very smooth gourmand experience with class. So Feve Gourmand has notes of rum, spices, cacao, smoke, rose, patchouli, and tea. Now, there are some differences listed as far as the notes. I don't get a whole lot of difference in the smell. I think this one wears maybe just a touch more robust, but this is still, I would say, a very soft, inoffensive chocolate gourmand fragrance. So if you are looking for something really classy, but also gourmand, then I think they really have checked both of those boxes for you. Again, this is from the House of Guerlain from the Arts and Materials range, and this is Feve Gourmand. Next is from the House of Joussette, and Joussette is just a brand that is going to give you a fabulous gourmand every time. This is Le Gourmand, and I'm not even going to spend too much time on this fragrance. If you want to smell like Nutella on toast, here you go. Literal. In a bottle, dry toast smothered in Nutella spread. That's exactly what it is giving. So this is literal. It's rich, just absolutely spectacular nutty scent. I think there is some creaminess. There is a butter note featured in this one, and I just love the way this wears. So because it's really, really heavy on the hazelnut, it's going to come off just like nutty, but in a dry way. Like the toast seems dry. I know they're mentioning butter, but it's almost like maybe that butter is a part of the, you know, the Nutella spread of it all, but there is a dry underlying tone to this fragrance that I really don't get from a lot of these others, because so many that we've talked about today feature, you know, some caramel or praline or milk notes, something truly lactonic. This wears like dry toast and hazelnut spread. So please be sure to check this one out because it is one of the most scrumptious literal gourmands that I own. So Le Gourmand opens with notes of salt, toast, and butter. You have middle notes of cookie dough, and you have base notes of hazelnut cacao spread and hazelnut. Truly a nutty treat. Lots of chocolate, all right? So this one again is from the House of Joussette, and this is Le Gourmand. Last but not least is also a really delicious literal some more in a bottle, and this is from the House of Kais, another fragrance house that just specializes in tons of unique and delicious gourmands. This is Oui Plus. This too is really high ranked up there as far as my chocolate scents, and it's just like the way they have captured the graham cracker like facet of this fragrance. The chocolate is giving milk chocolate, but with a little bit more richness than maybe just a standard milk chocolate, but not quite dark chocolate either, all right? Just think high quality chocolate, and you're getting a fluffy marshmallow. So the fact that they were able to nail each of those scents well blended into a fragrance, you're going to literally smell like s'mores, okay? So if that is what you're trying to smell like for fall and winter, here you go right here. And this is a fragrance with amazing performance that's not going to break the bank. So this one has notes of coffee, marshmallow, cacao, Peru balsam, patchouli, and styrex. Don't let the mention of patchouli scare you. You're not going to get that as a standout note or anything you can pick up on in particular, because that kind of scared me from wanting to blind buy this fragrance. But I'm telling you, it is scrumdiddlyumptious, and you absolutely need this one in your life if you are a chocolate fangirl or new to chocolate fragrances. All right, so that is it for me. You guys, please drop me a line below. Let me know fragrances that feature a chocolate note that you love. Also, if you are newer to the note, which of these have intrigued you on the list? I'm telling you, all stunners, and you need to get your nose on them. All right, so be sure that you are subscribed. Make sure notification bell is turned on and set to all. Give me a big thumbs up. Hype your girl up. I love you all, YouTube, and I will catch you guys on the next one.